Good morning to Brazil. Good morning to the US. Good afternoon actually to France. It's a pleasure to be with you here this morning or this afternoon and to talk about one more COIL project that we are putting together for our students.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? This is a global transmission. Hayek will be live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enjoy the show.
Good morning again. It's an honor to be here with you. I'm here with Tony Hanfredanini, that is one of the co-authors of Common Sense Economics. And she's also a professor at Florida State University, and with our Professor Maurício Bento at Hayek Global College. And also joining in a little later will be our friend Jean-Baptiste Jousseau from University Aix-Marseille University in France, because they together as colleagues did build this COIL project that we are going to present and going to talk about today. So it's an honor to be here with you. And first of all, I would like you to introduce yourselves. Tell us a little about your own, your own journey, international journey, maybe, or academic journey, or professional journey, where being international has impacted you.
Go ahead,
Want me to
Tony.
go? Yeah, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, hello, everyone. It's a delight to be with you in this format. I'm excited to be a part of this project and actually honored and humbled. As explained earlier, I am a common sense economist, which means I'm one of the authors of Common Sense Economics, which is a movement around the globe to bring the power of economic thinking to various countries. We have 11 country partners in Eastern Europe. We're moving into Latin America, Japan, Taiwan, and it's really exciting because what we're doing is we're building bridges between individuals who at the first glance appear to have very little in common because their cultures are drastically different. But then when you start speaking, especially the economic language, you find that we are the same. We want to improve our lives by bringing a lot of other people along with us. And this is what this project hopes to do.
Yeah, for me, it's very similar to Tony. In my career, I had the experience to meeting people worldwide from all around the world, to live abroad, and that made me grow a lot as a professional. Now I work, besides being a professor, I also work with auditing and economics in general, and having met lots of people, having discussed and having learned from people all around, it really helped me grow. And I think this COIL project is going to be very special, not only for students but for ourselves too.
Great. I mean, I always like the international projects because we keep connecting and we have this network, and we can actually bring the knowledge and skills that we are maybe developing in one country to different countries, such as Tony was just saying with Common Sense Economics. They've been in Asia, they've been in Europe, in the US, and now they're moving to Latin America. But especially this project, what are you looking for in terms of impacting your students, the students that will participate in the project? Where are you aiming? What are you aiming for?
An international understanding that we have more things in common than we do that are different. And it's because of those similarities, and with the help of AI, a lot of help from AI, especially on the translation end, we can move together and become bigger, better, and stronger by helping each other, working across the different countries in the same course, let's say, where we're united by our desire to accomplish what the course is designed to do. But then we gain an international understanding, and it lowers the so-called cost of working with people from other countries.
Yeah, so at first we can also learn the macro scenarios from multiple countries and understand each country's economics, but also we can dive into the microeconomics of specific industries. So we can learn from countries and also from industries. And we, as Tony just pointed out, we are using technology to connect ourselves. So, but we can also use AI to connect ourselves. It's the new thing that everybody's talking about. But how can we use it in education to connect ourselves and to improve our learning? I think, as she just pointed out, by having people from all around, maybe some of the documents and books and things that we have on specific industries, maybe the content is not in English, but thanks to AI, that's not a problem now. So we can learn together way faster and better than we can learn by ourselves individually.
Right, especially as we, in the project itself, the COIL project, we have the macro element, but then we have the micro foundations of this macro element. And the first task of the students who are involved in this, they're going to be able to describe the overall macro picture of each of their countries. And then they'll dive down and they'll explore the industry underpinnings of one of the industries that make up the macro picture. And it'll be up to the student to highlight some of the commonalities that their study has with other countries, but then they're going to fold in the cultural aspects. So economics is only a tool. Sometimes people forget that it is the foundation of the way we think, but it also, the principles and such are buried in these institutional underpinnings or blocks, so to speak, that make up the different countries. And that's where we're going to rely on our students to help us understand what some of the institutional differences are. And this will bring us back to the research of Nobel laureate Doug North. The institutions matter. They affect transaction costs. And it's the transaction costs, if they're high, they're going to hinder growth and prosperity, not only for the student, but everyone around them and with them. But if they're low, which they seem to be getting lower and lower in some countries more than others, you're going to see that it opens up tremendous opportunity, not only for the students, their families, other residents of their countries, but with their trading partners around the world. And that's where we always bring this project and what we examine in a regular macro course to the international aspects of it.
That's so exciting. And I feel like when you're talking about cost, then you could talk about, the economic cost, but also the human cost of, negotiation and decision making in the whole process of trading, right?
Exactly, because each country has different institutions that affect whether or not you can trust the contract that you're writing or entering with other people. And if you have a trusted set of institutions that are stable in nature and protect the individual's rights and their property, then it's easier to conduct business and it's more attractive to invest and save in those countries. By contrast, and we have seen this with our students, because at Hayek, we have people from all over the globe. We have some countries where it's very difficult to find a trustworthy contract, one that's backed by the courts in a reasonable fashion and one that can be trusted to pursue ethical relations. And so we're made up of a beautiful place. We've got things that are happening at one extreme. The great thing about this project is students are going to be forced to think about situations that are very different from those in their backyard, but it's not going to be a lecturer like myself up there chatting about it. It's going to be students sharing each other's stories based on the research that they do and bring into the classroom. And so it's fascinating. We always get things out of similar projects that we imagine, but it's the unimagined aspects that really make it thrilling and exciting, and it helps us grow and get excited for the next project.
Yeah, adding a point to that is that in our project, the students are the protagonists. So they're going to dive into the specifics, as Tony mentioned. So the students are the protagonists, and they get together with colleagues from all around the world to explore specific points. So that's the key thing that I want to bring to this point right now. The students are the protagonists.
And what's exciting about this project is we're going to have students from various countries. I'm actually going to be based out of Armenia when I'm doing this project. We've got Jean-Baptiste, who's going to be in France. And then, of course, we've got our partners in Brazil.
Yeah, and I imagine, there will be some cultural differences, but also similarities, and then in a way of doing research, in a way of doing an analysis of what you're looking for, which brings me to the next question to you. Or maybe could you explore or introduce our students a little to the project that you are looking forward to doing with them? What will be the main objectives? What they will be doing? And what are you hoping to get out of that with them?
So we aim to bring the students into learning about macroeconomics from each country they're going to explore. Then they're going to create groups and debate the issue. So with people from all around studying and debating from different perspectives. So this is a key point, having different perspectives over the macroeconomics and the micro, because we're going to get industries in specific countries. So not only the culture and institutions are very important, so students will need to learn and discuss specific countries and institutions, but also specific industries, and they might work different because some countries are very strong in some industries and not that strong in other industries, and other countries, on the other hand, have different strengths and weaknesses. So this project is a collaborative project. It's going to bring people together to debate from different perspectives. That's the key thing. So we're going to have individual analysis over specific points, but also group analysis. So people are having this two-step analysis and debate. And then in the end we have the video, but I'm going to let this for another leave this for another part.
Beautiful. I don't have anything to add to that. That was wonderful. Thank you.
And then, so what was going to happen? They are going to actually do an analysis of Brazil, US, and France, right? Or are they going to do an analysis of Armenian industries as well?
My hope is that we bring Armenia into the fold, and then I'm working with a group out of Northern Michigan University in Marquette, Michigan, to bring in the U.S. perspective. But I'll be on the ground with the Armenian people, and we can see what happens there. I like the different cultures. We want to push and stretch our students to think about, one, they all live in a macro economy that's vibrant in different ways, but also it experiences challenges. And one of the reasons that I like Armenia is it's landlocked. And so it's going to present challenges that none of us right now are living in countries that has that obstacle to trade. And what does it mean to be in a landlocked country, especially with some wars that are taking place around them? So to bring in a vibrant cultural perspective that I think our students will value very much, because sometimes when we think about transaction costs, we're thinking about costs associated with writing contracts. But there are so many things included in transactions costs, including the state of war, whether there's peace surrounding them, whether or not they can easily trade with other countries, and what does it mean? And that's the perspective. So right now, I'm thinking about just doing the Armenian, but I think it's important to have the U.S. and I have a U.S. partner, hopefully that's in the background waiting to say yes. With your approval, Hannah.
Absolutely. I mean, the more countries you can bring, I love it. It's like it's our MBA experience. I mean, Tony, you have been teaching at the MBA, and you know that it's so enriching to have the different countries all in one classroom. So it certainly is challenging because of time zones when we are looking into different countries doing together a project in a COIL project kind of setting. But it's also enriching to our students and to ourselves. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we as parents and grandparents and such, we're concerned about when we go to bed and what time we get up, but our students aren't. They work 24/7, and that's the beauty of it. And I don't even have to ask them to do it.
True, they are like connected all the time, right? So have you? I'm just wondering, did you have any time before a moment where any of you had an international collaborations where you could share with our students what maybe has impacted you in that international collaborations in your specific areas? Or I mean, COIL is probably the first project for you both, right?
You mean the first type of COIL project?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
But you have other experiences in international collaboration. So what I'm wondering, or what I think could be interesting for our students to know, international collaborations that you have already been a part of and how they have impacted you.
I had a few, but not like COIL. COIL is very unique and special. But in the past, when I was in college, I was part of the international program in our university. So, but I was the partner of international students, so I was always with international students, like welcoming them in our university, in our campus, showing them like all around, and that was the beginning of my interest in the international field. But then I moved abroad. I lived in the US, in Washington DC, and it's a very global city. You can like you meet people from all around the world there. I met, I think, more people from like maybe Europe and Asia than I met from the US. So lots of people from all around, especially working in the field that I worked. I worked with in the international field in DC. So it was very enriching. So I was able to exactly learn the different perspectives. So it's different from reading about a country or reading about an industry than to talking to people that lived in that country, that are from that country, or that worked in that industry. So that's very different, and that's what we're going to simulate with COIL. We're having lots of students from different countries that are going to bring their views to the table, and with these different perspectives, we're going to simulate using technology, simulate as we were in that country, in that industry. So I think that COIL is very unique, very special. It will be my first experience as a professor, and I wish I had this experience and this opportunity when I was in college.
That's great. Thank you. And then from the professor's perspective, I can speak to parts of the Common Sense Economics project. We are working with ministries of education, with councils on economic education in countries like Japan, South Korea, and some independent nonprofit groups in Taiwan. But the most exciting part of Common Sense is that we're in 11 countries in Eastern Europe. If you go to a website called econfund.org, econfund.org, you can learn a little bit more about those countries. And again, those projects focus on bringing economics and the core principles into those spaces. But what we're finding is that we are creating a very enriching and vibrant cultural environment. And it is this that I think excites and feeds the soul versus just focuses on the mind. And I've learned a lot. The partners have learned a lot. And through these relationships, the partners, and they're usually economists like myself and others, we've been able to train teachers at the college and high school level, and then they go on to teach their students. So impacting these people and now bringing the international cultural piece to it, I think is going to enrich the projects that we have ongoing and lift them and elevate them to a different level, which excites me. And I'm very thankful to be at the beginning of this process, because in addition to having these classroom experiences, my hope is that we can do some research, and that research can be shared with other individuals, universities and such, so it becomes an integral part of their universities and other courses around the world.
Absolutely, and showing the impact that that working internationally with students, even though virtually, has on their skill set, right? I mean, when we are looking and preparing students for the labor market and for either if they're working as employees or if they are going to be entrepreneurs, but they need to be able to adapt to different cultures, negotiate with people from different contexts, from different backgrounds. And I think I would say for me, that's even if we are looking into different contents of that we're working in a COIL, but it's the greatest value that you could take out of the COIL as such, as a learning project. Do you agree? Do you think there's something else that you would like to add to that, where you see the greatest value?
Well, I think the personal value is definitely there, and I think that's maybe where you were headed with that question. And if not, Maurício, you can speak to that. But I do think it's important, especially in a virtual world that's becoming increasingly more a part of what we do and how we do it, especially if we're in international sales or whatever it may be. And it's not just about how I want to do business or the US based business wants to do business. When you enter that global space, you have to think about how are we going to do business, given the different institutional settings, the different cultural underpinnings and such, because something we do in the US may offend somebody that does something differently in another country, and it's without intent. There's no intent of harming or hurting another. And you often find yourself saying, well, if I just known, I have just known. Well, now we're putting it on the radar. It's important to know about cultural differences. It's important to know about different institutions, both formal and informal. Some things are in writing in the formal setting, but many, many, many things are informal and they're spoken. And so we hope to open our students' minds to the cultural aspects of when you're doing business, realize it's not just about you, it's about us and them. We're collaborative. We want something that's going to be mutually advantageous and not just forcing people to do business our way. Let's do it together.
Yeah, and adding to that is that COIL is not only about technical knowledge. It aims to other issues also, like this cultural learning, but also specific abilities. In our tentative schedule, we are planning to have a space for individual study and individual research, but also for group collaboration, peer review, and in the end, the video production, which is an idea that Tony brought to the table, and we loved it. And it's also something that maybe our students had never done. Maybe students watch lots of videos online, they like watching it, but maybe they never produce it. So it's not only about learning economics itself, but acquiring skills of studying and research, but also collaborating and then producing a video. That's a collection of abilities that the students will develop.
It's a portfolio of assets that they'll find meaningful, but I think equally as valuable, their future employers are going to find impressive. And what's great about the time and the experiences at Hayek Global through the MBA program is when you help students develop bonds with students in other countries, those bonds remain well after the course ends, as evidenced by some of the things we hear about in WhatsApp. I go to a country, I'm in Guatemala, I post on LinkedIn. Next thing you know, one of my students popped up, can I buy you coffee? I'm like, yes, absolutely. It's a wonderful world.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that we have to learn about as well. Before the pandemics, maybe COIL was not so developed because people would rather go for an in-person exchange. And now with all the technology that we have, and we got deeper into the possibilities of virtual exchange and getting connected. And we had those experiences, as Tony just said, with, the bonds that go beyond the virtual classroom. When we had in-person meetings, what the student in Guatemala saying, can I buy you a coffee? A student from Brazil visiting the US and like, oh, see, with whom I am here. Or visiting, I don't know, Kenya. Oh, see who is here next to me at some summit. As like the real connections that they're building and getting to know the different countries. Well, to wrap it up, I just have one last question for you. Is there any curiosity that you would like to share with the students about yourselves or the country like that you're living in, just to, let's say, to warm them up for the COIL project and the possibilities of learning, of cultural learning, of interpersonal learning, and so on?
I was talking to Tony just before our meeting in here, and she mentioned that she is in a very, very wet city and it's very hot. It's probably still summer, right? In St. Louis, Tony?
Yes, hotter than Hades.
Yeah, and I'm in Brazil right now. It's still hot despite being winter, which is crazy, but very dry. It doesn't rain for 3 months or 4 months now, so it's very like we have this very different. Everything is different, and that shapes also like the weather shapes how you behave. I remember when I was living in DC, and people were very concerned about the wind, which is something that was never concerned in my life. People was like, think about the wind because it's a very windy city. They say it's because of the geography, DC geography, and it's also very wet. It's they say it's a swamp in so I think that this brought the attention to me how many things shape the way you see. Like I grew up in Brazil, and it's like always summer, so the weather does not shape how we behave so much. The only issue is that if it rains, and in the US summer changes people prepare for the summer, and that's something that really it's very obvious and basic when you are in the US, but when you are in a country that doesn't change that much, you start thinking about how that shapes even the economy, because the economy responds to all that, right? So the economy responds to the weather. So think about how many industries are concerned with the weather. How many? There's so many, and especially in services, but also in the multiple industries and products. So I think that when you have this economic thinking, you start seeing things different. You start seeing how everything has a bigger impact, and that's what I think that this COIL project will bring to the table for all our students and also for the professors involved.
Yes, and I'm excited, especially given some of the interesting, shall we say, things that are happening between the United States and different countries. Let's take Brazil. Let's hot topic tariffs. We can hear from the people in Brazil how the U.S. tariffs are impacting them in various industries. And then we can tie this cross industry and the impact on consumers to the overall health and wealth of the nation. And then we can discuss, well, what happens when a less healthy nation comes to us for trade for whatever reasons? Does that make them a stronger trading partner, a weaker trading partner? And we just go through some of the things that would be very boring if you had a professor who is presenting online or writing on a whiteboard, and it just becomes real. It's what you're living every day, which I love it. And then once you see these things and we package them with the econ way of thinking, the great thing about your time with us is you'll never unsee it. Never unsee it. It's going to make you a better person as an individual in the workplace, in your families, in your communities, and the list goes on. So I'm excited about getting this started, and I thank Hayek Global College again for being a thought leader in doing this.
Well, it's an honor to have you both on, actually you three, Jean-Baptiste as well, on board on this project, and you know, connecting different countries and connecting different perspectives and taking the lead on one more COIL project. Is there any closing remarks that you would like to do?
I look forward to all of you joining us soon.
Me too. I'd like to invite everybody, everybody that is interested to register and to participate in our COIL project. It will definitely be a great experience, not only for you, but for me and for us here,
Yes.
definitely. So I invite everybody, and let's participate into this COIL project together and make this a very interesting learning experience for everybody.
And as evidenced by, John Baptiste's conflict here, we're very flexible, and it is a challenge working across these different time zones, given our different pressing commitments. And it's not a criticism. This is the world that we live in, and we respect, and he's going to be an integral part of it. So even though you don't see him on the video with us, trust us, he's a strong, strong member, and you'll enjoy being with him as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.
Yes, thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tony. It was a great.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Hannah, Maurício. Ciao.